Every night while you sleep, your money doesn't. It moves, silently, invisibly, through a system designed not for your benefit, but for theirs. And that's the part nobody ever explains. You think your money rests safely in the bank. It doesn't. It's working overtime, just not for you. When you check your bank app in the morning and see that familiar number, maybe it's 23.47, $18. You feel secure. That number feels like ownership. But it's not ownership. It's a promise. A digital IOU. Because the moment you deposit your cash, it stops belonging to you in any practical sense. Legally, it becomes the bank's asset, and your balance becomes their liability. You've just lent your money to the bank, whether you meant to or not. And the bank doesn't let it sit there. It multiplies it. Here's how the game works. Let's say you deposit $1,000. The bank is required to keep only a small fraction of that on reserve. Sometimes, just a few dollars. The rest can be loaned out or invested. Your $1,000 turns into a $900 loan to someone else. That person spends it, and it lands in another account, where another bank loans out 90% of it again. Your single deposit ripples through the financial system, becoming thousands of dollars in loans, mortgages, and investments. It's called fractional reserve banking, but the fraction is the only part that's yours. And that's not a conspiracy. It's the foundation of modern finance. The problem isn't that it exists. The problem is how quietly it extracts value from you, day after day, while making you feel like it's doing you a favor. Because while you earn 0.01% interest on your savings account, the bank earns 5%, 7%, even 15%, lending your money back to the same public through mortgages, credit cards, and business loans. That spread between what they pay you and what they charge others, that's called the net interest margin. It's the invisible heartbeat of banking profits. The bigger the gap, the fatter their balance sheet. You're the silent investor, without the reward. Now, you might say, but my money's insured. The FDIC protects it, right? Yes, in the US, deposits up to $250,000 are insured by the government. But that's not a safety net for you. It's a confidence mechanism for the system. It's there so you don't panic and withdraw your cash. Because if everyone did that at once, the illusion would collapse instantly. The money simply isn't all there. It's been loaned, transformed, and leveraged into other people's obligations. That's the hidden truth behind every smiling bank commercial. Stability is just well-managed belief. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Every night while you're sleeping, your bank participates in something called the overnight lending market. Think of it as a secret marketplace where banks lend to each other, often for just a few hours, to balance their books. They borrow billions overnight to meet regulatory requirements, then repay it the next morning. It's a vast web of short-term transactions powered by, you guessed it, your deposits. Your money is the oil that keeps this machine running 24/7. The bank earns interest from these overnight trades. You earn nothing. In fact, the next time you see interest credited monthly on your statement, remember this. That tiny amount isn't generosity. It's hush money. It keeps you from asking how much more your money could have earned if it were truly working for you. Now, to be fair, banks aren't villains. They're machines built to manage risk, liquidity, and confidence. But the incentives are asymmetrical. They use your money to generate yield, while giving you just enough return to keep you comfortable. Imagine a friend who borrows your car every night, rents it to strangers, and then leaves you a coffee as thanks in the morning. That's modern banking in a nutshell. And this system thrives on two powerful forces: trust and inertia. As long as you trust your bank, and as long as you don't move your money, they win. Because the less you do, the more they can. It's no coincidence that banks spend billions on apps that make checking your balance easy, but moving your funds harder. They want you to feel in control, while keeping the control firmly in their hands. But here's the twist. Digital banking has changed the speed of money. In the old days, withdrawals took time. Now, with real-time systems like FedNow in the US or instant payments in Europe, liquidity can vanish in minutes. We saw that in 2023 when Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. Billions were withdrawn in hours, not because people lined up outside, but because they tapped a screen. Confidence vanished at the speed of Wi-Fi. It wasn't a glitch. It was the first digital bank run in history. That moment revealed what's always been true. Banks run on trust, not on cash. And trust is fragile. The whole system depends on the assumption that you won't look too closely. So, what exactly are banks doing with your sleeping money? Beyond loans and overnight trades, they invest in bonds, government securities, and interbank assets. These instruments pay them interest, sometimes guaranteed by the state, while you get a fraction of a percent. The bigger the bank, the better the deals they get. Your deposits are their fuel, and the economy runs on your complacency. But here's the kicker. In times of high inflation, the game becomes even more profitable for them. While your savings lose value every year, the bank's loan portfolio adjusts to higher rates. They charge more on debt, yet keep deposit rates lagging behind. So, as your purchasing power erodes, their margins expand. You lose silently. They win publicly. Still, the system isn't all bad. Without banks, credit would freeze, businesses would collapse, and the flow of money would stop. But the problem is how the story is told. You've been conditioned to see banks as protectors of your wealth, not as enterprises designed to extract value from its circulation. They don't keep your money, they use it. Every swipe, every deposit, every idle balance is a transaction in their favor. Let's make it real. Imagine two people, Emma and Jack. Emma saves $10,000 in a bank account earning 0.5% interest. Jack takes a $10,000 personal loan from the same bank at 12% interest. Jack's loan is literally funded by Emma's deposit. The bank pockets the 11.5% difference. Multiply that across millions of customers, and you start to see why banks post billion-dollar profits each quarter, even when the economy struggles. Emma sleeps peacefully, thinking her money is safe. Jack struggles to repay, thinking he's borrowing opportunity. The bank wins both ways. But here's what most people miss. Banks don't just profit from lending money. They profit from the flow of it. Every transaction generates fees, card payments, wire transfers, overdrafts, ATM use, foreign exchange spreads. Even inactivity costs them nothing, but still helps them maintain liquidity ratios. It's a perfect loop. Your stillness gives them motion. Your security gives them power. Now, I want to give you the real sword, the tool to flip this script. Because this isn't about fear, it's about awareness. You can't escape the system, but you can make it work for you. First, understand the spread. The less you let banks borrow from you for free, the more control you take back. Move idle cash into high-yield savings accounts, money market funds, or U.S. treasuries. These vehicles often pay 10 to 20 times more than traditional banks, because they cut out the middleman. Second, learn the language of liquidity. When interest rates rise, banks slow to increase savings yields because they're maximizing profit margins. Don't wait. Move your capital to where it's treated better. You can switch in minutes, and the system knows it. Every time you act, you shift the balance of power slightly back toward yourself. Third, use banks for utility, not loyalty. Keep what you need for payments and emergencies, But don't let the rest sleep in low-interest accounts. Loyalty is not rewarded. Strategy is. And finally, remember this. The bank's greatest strength, your trust, can also be your greatest weapon. Once you understand how the game works, you stop playing blindly. You see the system not as a fortress, but as a marketplace. One you can navigate consciously, even profit from. So tonight, when you close your eyes and drift off, your money will still be awake, circulating, compounding, and feeding a machine that runs on faith. But this time, you'll know the truth. You're not just a passenger in that system. You're the source. The next move is yours. Core message: banks don't steal your money. They borrow your trust, profit from your inaction, and rely on your silence to keep the machine running.